understand, and dive headlong into how one can change their lifestyle and reverse various chronic diseases and get totally off medications quite simply. So many of his people have benefited, have given testimonials, which is available on YouTube. We'll be sharing these links, post this session. And following his heart, he quit his corporate job to follow his passion and spread the message to the masses. So right now he's heading the training by the name of Apricot Training Private Limited, and Life Without Medicine is the brand, which he'll speak more on that in his session. And having found this beautiful link between personal well-being and the well-being of Mother Earth, he's spreading the message of zero waste, minimalistic living, and building green communities. And Harish says, he's married to a beautiful soul by the name of Chetna Didi, Chetna Anchan, and they have another very handsome son, very well groomed son called Agastya. So, without saying much, I'll request Harish to take over and share his knowledge with us. Over to Harish. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivekanand. As usual, you only have kind words to say about everyone. Okay, good. So if you're ready to start,
medicine.
Just request everybody to be on silent, please, on mute. Except of course Harish.
Yeah.
Hi Harish.
Yeah, hi. So
just give me a second. I'll ensure that I'll mute everybody and then unmute you. You can unmute yourself and then you can start. Just a moment.
Sure. Great. I'm assuming you can hear me now. Thanks, Litesh.
Yeah.
Great.
Good to start. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, to share with you all, I happened to come by this journey just by chance, as Ravi was asking a little while ago. I'm an engineer, but how did I get into this? My wife happened to attend a program where she met a gentleman who was 65, who was very, very sick with a kidney problem at the age of 25. And he continued for the last 40 years, when he made changes to his life, to live without any medications. His kids were also 20, 25 by that time, and they also have lived without vaccinations, without medications, without anything, and lived very, very healthy lives. And when I heard of that, when Chetna told me that, I said, wow, I am not the only one who has lived without a single medicine for the last 30, 40 years. I haven't popped a single pill, except about 5, 6 years back when I was on a multi-city tour and I had lost my voice. Appointments had come after a long time, didn't want to miss out on that, and then took some connected with a doctor friend and said, yaar kya lena hai? So he said, take this antibiotic, and I took that, and that is where it went. Otherwise, I think last 3 or 4 decades there's been no medication at all, and I thought I was just blessed, which I think I am. But later I learned, after I met this gentleman, it's also possible for others to be blessed with the same kind of lifestyle choices that we make, which lead us to becoming like this, actually living life without medicines. So what happened? So let me ask, I'd like this session to be interactive. People can unmute themselves if they want to ask a question, and then we can go back and just mute yourself after that. Few questions. Most of us know simple, acute problems that we all face. It might be as much as simple as gas, acidity, hair fall, indigestion, cramps, menstrual cramps, simple things like this, or more chronic problems like BP, migraines, asthma, diabetes, arthritis, or the destructive ones like cancer, psoriasis, these kind of ones. I mean, how many of us know people who have one or more of these, either ourselves within the family or outside? I mean, even if there's a little bit of a show of hands, it would be nice for us to know that, yeah, there are people who exist who have these issues. Okay, I see 1 or 2 hands, 2, 3 hands going up. Great. How many of them do you know who have actually reversed these conditions? When I say reversed, I mean they don't need medication or anything for it ever again, which means totally cured. How many do we know who actually cured any of these conditions? So that was another one. And even better still, without medication. So that is even more rare, right? So what has happened is, I want to be very clear. We are not saying modern medicine is bad. Actually, somewhere I am saying that, but it is only required in critical conditions. Like someone's got a heart attack, someone's broken a bone, something major has happened, so I need to rush to the hospital. So many of us, I keep hearing then we will come to the COVID part, we will talk about it. People keep talking about, hospitals are ripping us off. We go to the hospital for COVID, they charge us 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs. People are dying, whole host of things happening. Same time, we see people who come to us with COVID, 3 days, totally healed, recovered, moved on back to work. Today, as we speak in Bombay, there is one case which has happened like this. There will also be another gentleman who's from Pune who will talk about COVID later in the program. So why is it so difficult? Why is it that we are so conditioned to believe? Because when we have a cough, when we have a cold, we have a fever, we have anything, all we have been trained to do is pop a pill. So it is the conditioning which is coming down the ages that has totally enslaved us to going. So there is no point us, blaming the hospitals. It is us who are going there for everything. That is what I would like to bring about. There's another thing which I'd like to bring about over here. How did I also get into this? One was, of course, what my wife noticed. Another problem was my father himself was a doctor. And he had a stroke. The left side was paralyzed. And there was a time, and he had the best doctors at hand. He was a fairly senior government official. So Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital was a choice where they took him when he had a stroke in the hospital. Over a period of time, they used to give him, and there was a neurosurgeon who was a medical superintendent and a general practitioner. So they used to prescribe medicines. There was no time. He would go there and he would say, Dr. Saab, idhar bhi problem hai, udhar bhi problem hai, himself being a doctor. And they would prescribe medicine after medicine after medicine. And there were 19 capsules that he would take in a day. There was a time when he would cough incessantly. I mean, it was almost like an earth-shattering cough, and he couldn't get sleep. We were very fortunate. We were visited by a friend of my brother who is a practicing doctor in the UK. And he took the time to say, Uncle, what are you taking? Why are you so in such a bad condition? Looked through the entire list, the Dhobi list of medicines he was taking. And he said, my God, you have problem A. To fix this, you are taking, medicine B. Medicine B is fixing this to whatever extent it is fixing it, but it is giving side effect C. To fix the side effect of medicine C, of C, you're taking medicine D. Then D has another side effect for which you're taking E. And the list went on. He took 15 capsules out of the 19. And then my father started breathing a little easy only after about 3.5 months. Which means the side effects were so deeply enmeshed in the system that even though we had taken out the medication for 3.5, 4 months, only then he started feeling the reprieve, the relief. Then I was 20 years younger, looked at it and I said, my God, this can't be good. This is something I need to stay away from. So while I never took medications, but this was something which got checked off in my head saying, hey, this can't be good. So let's talk about few cases, 3-4 cases that we know whose lives have changed drastically. We've had a gentleman in Dubai, for example. His blood sugar levels were at about 536 when he came to us. His mother was on diabetes medication. She was taking insulin. He fortunately wasn't yet taking insulin. It suddenly started shooting up to 400 to 500 levels. So when he got introduced to us, he saw within a day, the levels dropped to 138. It might not happen in everybody within a day. It might happen in 2 days or 3 days, but all without medication. And then it started normalizing, going up and down a little bit around 150, 180, 200, 220, started stabilizing. And then it is absolutely normal within 2 weeks. It is, I think, about 8 months to the day since we've done his session. He isn't taking medication even today. And he eats the sweets that he wants. Why has life changed for him and not for the others? We know a lot of people who've been suffering for 23 years and more. Sad. We had another case, 49-year-old lady, wife of an industrialist. The only reason I share industrialist is because money was not an object. She could go to all the top hospitals that she needed. And she kept going. But she was in such a bad condition with osteoarthritis. To walk from her bedroom to her kitchen was painful for the last 6 or 7 years. Extremely painful. When she came to meet us, she was holding the side of the railings and walking up. I asked her, what is it that interests you? She said, I love to dance, but of course it's a pipe dream now. We told her, don't worry, you will dance in 30 days. And I'm telling you, in 30 days, she met my wife and she was saying, look here, when I came, that time she had come home. When I came to your house, I was holding the railings and pulling myself, hauling myself up. I am going to go running down. And she went running down the stairs and was actually planning to register for dance classes. Why is that possible? And for God's sake, I'm an engineer. What is it that we are doing? I mean, it is absolutely crazy. Another case that I will share very quickly, and then we will go on to, the normal conversation after this case studies. This gentleman had, he lives in Texas, Houston. He himself is a pranic healer, and I know pranic healing is very good. He says he has tried pranic healing, allopathy, acupuncture, Ayurveda, homeopathy. Migraines for 30 years. In the last few years, so severe that it was there 24/7. Only managed by medicines, that it would come down to about 50% and then go back again. He, of course, had a court case happening in the US, and that accentuated matters or whatever. He had bronchial asthma for 30 years. He had a urinary problem for another 40 years because there was a surgery which had taken place in his kidneys and he could not control his urine. He had to continue to, he had to wake up at least three times in the night. Throughout the day, he had to go. In 2 weeks, 100% of his migraines just disappeared. 2 days he felt uncomfortable because he was taking preventive medication for his bronchial asthma, which happens generally during the seasonal change, it gets worse. And his waking up at night reduced to once, sometimes twice, which is he had a 30% improvement within the first 2 weeks. So why is life changing drastically for some people and the rest are hooked on to medicines for the rest of their lives? Let us try and understand that. What are we doing which is different from what is happening in modern medicine? In modern medicine, we are normally popping in a pill. So what does a pill do? A pill only suppresses the condition or the symptoms that we are experiencing. It is like if you pop in a pill, if you have pain in the arm, in the leg, in the back, in the head, anywhere, you take in a painkiller. The painkiller, suddenly it doesn't know where the pain is, but the pain magically disappears. If the pain magically disappears, we say, wow, it's worked wonderfully. But then when the effect of the painkiller runs out, it goes off 3 hours, 4 hours, the pain comes right back. So what did the pill do? The pill just disconnected the communication between the neurons in the brain or from the brain to the rest of the body. And when it does that, we feel no pain. It is just like an army at war. If the troops are not connected with the general at central command, what happens? All hell breaks loose. Here you don't feel the pain, you think everything is beautiful and everything is lovely. It's the same with everything else when we are suppressing it. And we feel great. Because it's also the time of instant noodles. We want food right now. We want everything now. We're not willing to wait. And we're not talking about waiting. I just shared. Someone was suffering for 30 years, 40 years, and he experienced freedom within 2 weeks. First 1 week he suffered, yes. But after that, progressively getting better almost to 90 or 100% in 2 weeks. Is that a long time? It is not. If that lady was suffering for 7 years, within 1 month, if she could start running and dancing, is that a long time? It is not. If I want to build my muscles, do I need to work on my biceps, on my muscles? I need to invest a little in that. So what we're talking about is actually going for the cause, not for the symptoms. So let us understand what the cause is. It is like, suppose you take a walk in the park. A very fine thorn goes under your foot. You don't even notice it because it's so fine. Because you don't notice it, over a period of time, there is an infection which builds up. Because of the infection, a fever happens in the body. Now let me, reassure you, you could take 10, 20 or 50 crocins. The fever will go down each time, but it will come right back up the moment its efficacy wears off. So is the crocin doing its job? No, it's just reducing the fever. In fact, it is hampering the job. Why were our grandparents used to boil water and give us to drink, if at all, or our parents? Those are not the days of RO machines and various other water filters that we had. They would give us water which was boiled. Why was it boiled? Presumably to kill the germs. Why is our body's temperature going up? Also to kill the germs. It is a defense mechanism to heal the body. But we don't want to give the body the chance to heal. So only when you figure out the infection is in the foot and you go and have that little fine thorn which had made its entry in the body, which is an alien, when you have it removed, will the infection die down and you get healed. It's the same principle which works with all diseases, be it a migraine, be it diabetes, be it blood pressure, be it cancer. The same principle works everywhere. So what is it that we do? We look at the 5 basic principles. The Panch Bhuta as we know it. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Somewhere these 5 elements, which is what comprises all living beings on earth, somewhere they are in a state of imbalance, one or more of them. All we try to do is bring the balance back. And due process of bringing the balance back, we see disease disappearing because health is coming back. It is quite simply, if you get a glass of lemonade, you want to make it sweeter. What do? We add more sweet. If you want to improve health, what do? You increase health. You don't pop in a pill. What is a pill after all? It is nothing but a chemical composition. What does the chemical composition do? The body treats it as an alien object when it goes in. So when the body treats it as an alien object which comes in, the liver, which is there to safeguard the body, is actually the buffer. It metabolizes 97 to 98% of that chemical. The balance 2 to 3% goes to do whatever the healing that we feel that we have felt. But if 97 to 98% of it is metabolized in the liver, can we even think what that medicine is doing to our liver? We have always heard of people who are alcoholics who die of cirrhosis of the liver, those extreme cases. Please Google or ask your doctors or just check up what are the latest stats for non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver, which also could be due to livers getting drugged, being poisoned because of all the toxins that we are feeding it, unknowingly or knowingly, because we don't know of options. So one is the balancing. Now, how the balancing happens is by aligning one with nature. For instance, what we believe is 70 to 80% of the healing, or even up to 90% in many cases, happens out here. Most diseases are psychosomatic in nature. They start in the mind, manifest in the body. But most of us don't know that. Many of us know that. But we are used to our same old thought patterns. There are enough statistics which show we think about 60, 70 or 80,000 thoughts in a day. 90% of those thoughts are the thoughts that we thought the previous day and the day before that and the day before that. Similar thought patterns, and they've grown over the years. We don't change that. Now what happens? Do we believe thoughts actually influence our future? They do. Because of the way we think, our thoughts, they lead us to certain choices that we make in life. Because I believe, let's say, Sridhar is a bad guy. The moment I see him, I will be ready to fight with him or to abuse him or to say things to him. Or I will be, let's say Ravi is a good guy. Okay, let me let my guard down when I am with him. Or Vivekanand is an X guy or a Y guy. We have different thought patterns. They define the choices that we make in life. Those very choices that we make define our behaviors, our behavioral patterns. And those same very behavioral patterns define the experiences that we have in similar situations, because I'm used to that. Those experiences will make us experience the same emotions, feelings, and define the results that we get from each interaction. And that drives us to certain results that we get every time. And every time we follow the same thought patterns, but we choose not to change it. And that defines suddenly our personality. And my personality defines my personal reality and defines my future. What I'm trying to share over here is more about the mind, our thoughts, and how it defines how we move along in our life. But these very thoughts, if toxic, release certain chemicals in the body, release certain hormones in the body. Because I am scared, I am stressed, my muscles contract, I'm ready to fight or I'm ready to run. There is more blood, there is more sugar which is released in the blood because cortisol is released, adrenaline is released. More cholesterol is increased in the bloodstream. I am permanently living in a state of stress. How can that be good for my body? A simple test any one of us can do after this program or during this, this conversation. If I ask any of you to be angry, sad, happy, can you be? We can't. How I can do that is I can go back, close my eyes, or think of a moment which made me very happy. I can go back, close my eyes, and think of a moment which made me very sad. Maybe the passing away of a loved one. Maybe the arrival of a newborn. We don't know what. But the moment I am happy. So we can do this little experiment, once we finish this conversation. Stretch your arm out as hard as and strong as you can. Think of a beautiful, happy thought. Stretch your arm out as strong. Get someone to push your arm down. They will find it very hard to push your hand down because you have all the strength. In the next minute itself, think of something which made you very sad, very angry, very frustrated. Stretch your hand out again. Hold it as strong as you can. Get someone to push it down. And you see how easy it is to press the hand down. In seconds it happens. The mind is supremely powerful. And it influences and manifests itself in the body so easily. The problem is, many of us don't live with awareness, with consciousness of what we are doing. Life just goes along. Yes, we are conscious to a large extent, but there are lots of these subtle messages that come, that things that happen, but we just ignore them, or we don't even know that they're happening. There are messages, signals that our body is giving us. Hey, there is pain over here. Hey, there is discomfort over here. Hey, there's indigestion. Hey, there's hair fall. Hey, there is gas formation. Hey, there are problems. These are all signals. The body is talking to us and telling us, hey, hello, fix it. But not with a pill. Fix it. There is a problem within. There is something that you are doing that is wrong. Don't abuse me so much. We choose to ignore and move on in life. So we like to tell people to live with consciousness, with awareness, all part of the program. But I hope we are making sense. Is it making sense to all of you all? If I have at least a show of hands, I get to know that somewhere. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So how can we change ourselves? Let us talk a little bit about COVID situation. Then I'll come to, building our immunity and doing whatever. The whole world has gone crazy with COVID. I see even some of our neighbors wearing masks the moment they step out in the balcony to water the plants. I mean, people have gone really insane and scared. It is just like if I was to board a flight, Delhi to Bombay, if I start thinking, oh my God, what happens if the flight crashes? And if for the full 2 hours I'm thinking, or the 1 hour, 50 minutes, I'm thinking, what happens if the flight crashes? What is going to happen to me? The same thing is happening with COVID. Now, let me ask you all a few logical questions, because for us, it's always interesting to, get one to think. The virus is just a few nanometers wide. It can be measured in nanometers. Yet, we've all been asked to wear masks, and I see, in our RWA association, people going wild. I saw one vegetable vendor not wearing the mask. He was wearing it below his nose. Have him thrown out of the colony straight away. I mean, people have become paranoid. My question to you is, the cotton masks that most of us are using, or those with the ventilators that they have, the expensive ones, the better ones, can the virus be stopped? Can it not make its way through that mesh that is there, that is covering your face and keeping you safe? Yes, it may offer you some sense of security, more mental than physical. But is it going to ultimately help you? I see people using sanitizers in and out everywhere. In fact, most of these sanitizers have such terrible chemicals in them that will take you closer towards cancer. It will take you closer towards actually disrupting the endocrinal system within your body. What are the hormones that you will release in the body? I see people doing an elbow high five. They don't touch you with the hand. But how far is elbow, if they had the virus, from here to come to your nose. Not very far. We've been told to maintain 6 feet of social distancing. Let me reassure everyone who is on this talk. Each one of us is going to bump into Mr. or Mrs. COVID someday or the other. It is the new normal. It is here to stay for the next 1 year, 2 years or more. You cannot hide yourself in your house, in your office or anywhere else. The one and only sure shot way of facing COVID is build your immunity. Keep yourself strong from within so that when Mr. or Mrs. COVID comes and hits you, gets into your nose, your ears, your eyes, anywhere makes an entry, they don't find a beautiful, warm, cozy home to stay. They come and they are thrown out through the body's immense wisdom and immune system to throw it and chuck out anything which is not acceptable within. Simple questions. If you break a bone, who heals the bone? The doctor just puts it in a cast so that it stays in place. But finally, it is your body which is putting and joining the bones together. If the body can join the bones together, what is a COVID? Why is it that we have clients, and I will not talk about it. We have somebody who will be coming on board later around 5:30 to talk about it. But why is it so easy for us when we see people healed, getting out of COVID in 3 days, 6 days? No medicine whatsoever, no fear, because they've been our patients for 2 months, 1 month, or they just had faith in their own bodies to heal themselves. And for a paltry sum, not 5-10 lakhs, not to even wait for the side effects that are going to happen. So anyway, so point I'm trying to make is I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I've missed. How can we build our immune system? Okay, we are at 5:37. Before I go ahead, let me just check, is Nimrat online? Nimrat, are you there? Is Anil there? Okay, they aren't here, so I will talk till I will speak till they come. The moment they're on board, then I'll let them share how their life changed and what happened when we consulted with them. How can we build our immune system? Multiple ways. Let us also understand, to get to a certain point, there could be multiple routes. Take diabetes, for example. I could be terribly stressed because of my work environment. My boss is a pain. My subordinates are a pain. My spouse is a pain. I don't know. He or she stresses the hell out of me. I am stressed. It could lead to diabetes. I eat too many laddus. I could get diabetes. I work in a paint shop. I'm breathing terrible chemicals. I work in a petrol bunk. I'm breathing in those, the fumes from the petroleum products. We don't know what could get us there. Extremely important to find the cause and eradicate it. Are there any superfoods? I personally don't believe in any. People will keep tom-tomming superfoods. This has been got from the depth of the Pacific Ocean. This has been grown at the base foothills of the Himalayas. And that is why you have to pay 10,000, 20,000 or 50,000 rupees for this. People continue to take supplements for the rest of their lives. Why? Because it's not medicine. I pop in vitamin A pills, vitamin C pills, vitamin D pills. No one had a vitamin D problem in the last 20 years, last 100 years. Suddenly in the last 10, 15 years, everyone is vitamin D deficient. Everyone you see is popping in vitamin D, tablets or sachets. Why? Do we even stop to question why? The sun is out there giving you free vitamin D. But I choose not to take it. I will take that pill because I am so busy. I'm always in an air-conditioned room, in an air-conditioned car. I don't go out in the open. Things are a problem. So do I want to do that? So it's largely very, very simply about building your immunity. And when you build your immunity, which could be about increasing your intake of fruits and vegetables, as simple as that. I see Anil is online, and I will request him the moment, in another few seconds to come online and just share, because he was COVID positive, and I'd request Anil. So it's all about building your immunity, increasing some fruits, vegetables, something. And it is different for different people. As I said, there is nothing like superfoods. There are some things which are good in zinc. So it's all about a balanced life. It's not that I exercise like mad and suddenly I will get fit. No, over exercise will also kill you. So before anything else, I'd love to hand over the stage to Anil. Anil lives in Pune, and we had consulted for about 2 months for something different. We don't have to go into that, but largely we did a lot of life coaching. We had a lot of conversations about how to change your life, and we suggested a certain dietary lifestyle which was best suited for him. And Anil, would be very nice if you could just unmute yourself and share what happened when you got to know you were COVID positive. So if you could share.
Hi, Ayushji. Hope I'm audible.
If you could speak a little louder, Anil, we can barely hear you.
Yeah, sure. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. So I'm Anil. I had consulted Harishji for around 2 months. And then, we came into this Corona Kal, right? And at the end of June, I think around 27th, 28th, I and my wife, basically we got all the symptoms of Corona. Like I lost smell, taste and all those things. And then, I literally panicked. I mean, initially I panicked, but having followed, this diet for 2 months and getting quite good results, not only diet, the whole regime actually, a lot of things along with the diet. I just consulted Harishji. That we are getting these symptoms and how do we go about it? There was a little bit of panic, but the results that I had seen, had a bit of confidence in Harishji. So I, directly contacted him, and he suggested us a few, options and remedies. But I followed the diet religiously and the other things that he suggested religiously, but the remedies for COVID, actually, we were not able to follow at all. But in spite of that, first day was very difficult. So I walked for 100 meters and I had to, sit down really, and I could not even breathe. But I did not do anything. I just followed completely. Kept on following the diet. And on the third or fourth day, we were totally, off the symptoms. And just to let you know, I did not even skip my office even for those 3 days. So there was a panic, but had a confidence. I just wanted to let you know, guys.
Thank you, Anil, for sharing. Your all I wanted to share is we have hyped it so much, and Anil, and there are a few others who had the faith not to go to hospitals. Even right now, there is a case in Bombay. Last 3 days, she had gone. She was sitting with someone COVID positive in the car. She didn't realize, and in 3 days, 2 days actually, she's perfectly fine. But we are just taking precautions and going ahead to tell her to do whatever for the next 2 days. And life is beautiful. It is all going to end up with, I think, you can't take a flight, you can't get into a hotel, you can't get a visa if you're not COVID vaccinated. So I think it'll end up in that, which is another big business idea. but well, I think it's probably going to there. But that is about Anil. I just want to check, is Nimrat here?
Hi, Harish, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Good. Thanks. Nimrat is another, I would love to say, the toughest case we have had till date. For us, she had us shaken up for a little bit. Even though brain tumors have got healed, even though cancers have got healed in 2.5 months, we never thought they were difficult at all. Nimrat challenged us hugely. So I'd like to hand over to Nimrat to just share her experience. What were the issues and what happened?
Thanks so much, Harish. You make it, every time I talk to you, you make me feel like this big celebrity patient who got fixed, but I'll go from there. So hi everyone. A chance meeting with Harish got us talking, and I have had 2 major surgeries as a child. So I had my appendix ruptured when I was 4, and at the age of 7, my small intestines, there was gangrene, and about 90% of it had to be removed and then fashioned in my intestine for digestion. So which basically means that my entire life I've had digestion issues. I've had stomach issues through my whole life. As I grew older, I've had issues. I had headaches. I was a fairly irritable person at most times. I would have headaches which would last for weeks, months. I was constantly eating medicines, Disprins for them. And it was just an ongoing thing. So it was something which I was just used to. I used to drink coffee like possibly water. I had drank more coffee than water ever in my life. My coffee was basically a bottle of coffee poured into a mug with water, and I would. So yeah, I did give Nescafe a lot of business. I know that. Harish is going to be taking that away from them. That was me. So when chance meeting with Harish, we got talking, and he made some, he gave us some suggestions. Of one of the biggest ones at that time for me was to quit coffee, when I thought was possibly going to be difficult. What I can say is that I followed the diet, the suggestions that he had given for us, for me specifically, and I can happily say I haven't had a headache in about 18 months, and I'm a person who lived with headaches for the major part of my life. My stomach digestive issues have been settled, and settled without any medication. So I haven't had to have any medicine to keep my stomach settled. And so digestion has not been a problem anymore. So those are the 2 large things which I thought I would live for the rest of my life, eating things which anything I ate. And the digestion was anything I ate, not just eating out or eating spicy. Anything could trigger me off. So yeah, those are just a couple of things. And so this worked. I know it worked, and really worked well for me. And the fact, like I said, if I hadn't had a headache in 18 months, no Disprins, no nothing. So also Disprin business has gone down tremendously, both with, and I can gladly say that I'm headache free. My stomach is settled, and all I did was follow the diet and the basic plan that Harish had for us. So thank you, Harish.
Thank you so much, Nimrat, for coming online and sharing your experience with the rest of them. Thank you so much. Thanks, Anil. Thanks, Nimrat. Up to you. So largely what I wanted to share is life is beautiful. For us, what happens is, we look at issues with the mindset, the perception is such, because that is what we've been trained or conditioned to believe. The enormity of the problem is so large that we can't handle it. It's like the cancer case. The girl came to us only the first time we spoke about cancer. After that, we did not speak about it at all. All that we spoke about was her relationships with her in-laws, with her husband, with herself, with her friends. Cancer was just collateral benefit where it disappeared. For us, it is about the whole journey, from where you start to where you want to go. The ailment is just something which happens to be there for a certain reason, and it goes. She would tell me, Harish, I don't even realize 2 weeks together that I am suffering from cancer. And it is actually so beautiful because the healing is happening from here. So what we want to share with people is, it is not just about the ailment. That is a small thing. It's about the entire journey that we like to traverse and see how we can take, or we can go from point A to point B to where we need to get. And that is what changes our life. Because we do 3-4 things. One is we do one-on-one consults. 2, we do life coaching if required, because that is largely about healing the mind. 3, we do corporate seminars, which are both preventive and curative in nature. If people just follow what we say in the seminar, is enough for them not to get into a disease state at all. So does that increase productivity, build morale, reduce absenteeism? Of course it does. It's also curative in nature. But yes, a lot of people come out of that saying, hey, my father is unwell, my friend is unwell, this happens, that happens, can you help? And then we get into that. But largely it's about this journey that we do. I'd be happy to take questions, if any, from anyone, if it has made sense.
So, Harish, does it involve a diet plan, or does it involve something more than that?
It depends. It depends. It's very simply put, if you have a diesel car, you cannot put petrol and run it. You have to put diesel. So one is, we try to figure out what is right for the person. Each one is different. We have some people who wake up only at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We have some people who are living in Rajasthan who don't have access. We have some people who are extremely poor, below the poverty line. They don't have, for example, we would tell you, have greens, have fruits. They're extremely good for you. But the poor cannot even afford fruits. He may not even be able to afford greens. So what we try and do is try to assess who is in what situation and customize something for them. Yes, is there a plain vanilla plan? There is, which is what we share when we do our corporate seminars, because you just do that. That is good for prevention. It is good for curative. But if someone has a specific condition, let's say cancer, let's say arthritis, let's say some other issue, BP, sugar, then we look at something very specific to you, which will heal you faster. Because for us, it's largely professional pride. If people come to us, they should not come back to us after a month. They should be gone. You should be gone. Yeah.
How do the commercials work out like?
It depends again from person to person. So that we can always speak about offline, because we have a different thing for, we have different packages that we talk about, largely 1 or 2 only, but that could always be separate, but never disease specific. Never did. It's more location specific. That's a funny one, but we can talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah. So any other questions?
Hi, Harish. This is Sucharita here.
Sorry?
One second.
Yeah. Hi, Sucha. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I have 2 questions for you. When generally children get fever, we tend to go immediately give them paracetamol or something.
Right.
So could you share some thing else which we could not do? But because overall we know that it's not good for their system also giving
Right.
the paracetamol
Right.
always. But as a F1 for help, we always give them paracetamol. That is my question number 1. And question 2 is, if it is in your scope, can you just share some tips for increasing immunity in these days?
Sure. So a few tips I've already shared, Sucha, over here, Sucharita. One is, of course, increase your intake of fruits, vegetables, go out in the sun. These are great tips which will help build your immunity. But most of us, we go into different, I will go and have junk food. I will have Coke. Does sugar reduce your immunity? Most certainly it does. Is sweet bad for you? No. We are saying sugar is bad for you. So there would always be a substitute that we should look for. So one is increase your fruits and vegetables. Go out in the sun. It will definitely increase your immunity. Now you're asking about your child. Let's say the children fall sick. They get fever. What do we do? Our son is 13. He used to fall sick very often in the past. And we used to go to the doctors. There was once a turning point which came for us, which was, I think, it was exactly about 8 years ago. And he couldn't go to school for 5 weeks because he was down with fever for the full 5 weeks. And we were completely lost, not knowing what to do, like a fish out of water. We spent at that time, I remember, which was a fairly tidy sum, about more than 30,000 just on his tests. Doctor's fees separately. Because the doctor kept saying, "Acha, ye test kara, wo test kara," all 14, 15, 18 tests. I mean, I think except for AIDS, he got us to test the kid for everything else. And he had his own in-house path lab. You know, so business was booming for the doctor. It was after that which actually triggered us off on some certain journey. So what would we do? Of course, in the beginning, hand holding is required. Because just by my telling you, don't give him paracetamol, it doesn't serve the purpose. You will be scared when the fever goes up to 102, 103. So what do? We just do cold compress. If the fever goes beyond 102, 103, we just do a cold compress. But let me reassure you, what happens? We reduce his intake of food. We put him only on juices. If he is hungry, just these 2-3 things and he's all right. But I'll tell you what is the biggest benefit. Every time you take an antibiotic, every time you take a crocin, it's destroying your immunity. It's destroying things within your body. And every time it chips away. And as it chips away at the little things in life, your child will keep getting sick very often. But you take this trouble just once. You will see the next 5 years he may not fall sick at all. As long as we do the right things. So we are into building immunity, making the child right. And more important than anything else, a child is learning a way of life. He is learning not to pop pills and destroy his life also. That is the biggest learning I see. And what you pass down the generations. I hope that's answered your question, Suja. Anything else?
Harish, I have a question.
Sure.
Chandrasekhar here.
Hi, Chandrasekhar.
See, in today's fast-paced world, as we call it, the kids, when I say kids, let's say 20 to 30 years, they are into whether it is a software business or any business. There's a lot of sense of commitment I see, and they tend to work from 14 to 16 hours many times on their laptops. Now, a stress does create, and then, as you said rightly, the stress would lead to some issues that can come in. Without affecting their work schedule, are you able to address this? Because the moment it affects the work schedule, they don't abide by anything else. You know, they have to do what they're doing because there's a sense of commitment that they have.
Correct.
So
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Chacha.
No, I was just wondering that do we have answers to them that their stress then comes down, but then they continue to do the work they're doing?
Most certainly, Chandrasekhar. Most certainly. See, because you and me, or anybody for that matter, cannot influence the external environment at all.
True.
That is the stimulus which is there and will continue to be there. The only thing you and me can affect is the change within. And that happens when we learn how to cope with stress, how to manage despite the daira that we have been given. What we know is what we have. I have this job. What do? It is the graveyard shift. Not the best idea. But why? I have to earn a living. So for us, the whole idea is about simplicity. The whole idea is about logic. So people understand what they're doing, why they're doing it. And it's about sustainability. It doesn't matter whether you're in London, Tokyo, or Warangal. You should be able to follow. So that is how we work and customize plans for each one. So you may be working 14 hours a day, but it's how I deal with stress that is important rather than the stress that is coming on. I can always blame the rest of the environment around me for how I am today. But let me reassure you, it's not them. It's how I respond to them that is important. And that is where I need tools to learn how to respond, to be cool in all situations. And still I might not be cool in all situations. But previously, if I was getting stimulated in 80% out of 100, today, if I'm getting stimulated in 20% out of 100, is that an improvement? Yes, it is. And it's a huge improvement. And that is what we're trying to focus on. So it's not about 100% acceptance. It's about you will choose and do what you think resonates with you. And that is what we will share, because each one is different. So the answer, a short answer to your question is yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. If there are any other questions. Well, if there aren't, I'd be happy to also say thank you to all of you for being kind, patient listeners. And thank you so much. Any other questions? Yeah.
How do we get connected to you if you want somebody to connect with you?
So you could take down my number if you want. I could share it. It's 9818286624. I will repeat, 9818286624. This is my WhatsApp number. One could easily send a WhatsApp message, and or we could connect on mail, whichever way. It's harish.anchan@gmail.com. harish.anchan@gmail.com.
Harish, if you send your contacts to us, we will share that contacts in the Elastic group. So
Sure. That will be very nice.
That'll be easier.
Yeah, your email ID and other things.
Yeah. Sure. That will be nice. Thanks, Sridhar.
I have already shared it in the chat. So
okay. Thanks, Satish. Thank you. Thank you. So please feel free. And yes, life is beautiful.
Yes.
We just stress about it. I would like to end with that, that life is really beautiful. And we can live life to the fullest. Doesn't matter what.
Don't you think that that's easier said than done when you're talking of removing stress? And stress is one thing that we live with today. I mean, with the way things are.
I would like to share if we connect. Maybe I would love to share a few testimonials of kids. The latest one, we haven't yet released it. We'll probably release it in 2-3 weeks. This kid is about 24 or 25 years old. He is a chef, works in the industry. He lost his job in January. From January till now, he is without a job. He's been in depression, highly demotivated, in a very bad condition. I mean, largely, when I spoke to him. All it took was a 1-hour conversation. Just 1 hour. Will it work for everybody? Maybe not. But it just took a 1-hour conversation where this boy, the situation around him is still the same. He's still without a job. He's still without whatever it is, but he has his skills. Suddenly he realized in the conversation, and we don't give any suggestions. We just talk. We ask him certain questions. He realized, oh my God, I have so many skills and I can do so much. And he's actually starting out on his business when his friends have been telling him to do it for so long. He hasn't been doing it. He's starting out his own thing from his house, delivering food. He's putting it in plan. He's highly motivated. He says, when I reached out, I was on a scale of 1 to 10. Now I'm on 8. And his father was shouting at him. He said, I would have shouted back at my father, but I suddenly stopped myself. Why am I doing this? In the last 4 days, his relationships with other people have changed so much. So it's actually just about us wanting or not wanting to go inside and introspect and find the answers or find the God within. It's as simple as that. It just looks tough. Like I said, a Rubik's Cube, if I gave it to you, if you don't know how to solve it, the enormity of the situation would be, how do I solve this Rubik's Cube? I can't. But you give it to a 5-year-old child or a 6-year-old child who's been practicing it, he'll do it in 20 seconds or less. It is just about us looking at a problem and saying, oh my God, this is stress, this is huge, I can't solve it. It's just about changing perspective with the right inputs. That's what we like to believe.
Right.
Harish, we have 10 more minutes if you want to take any questions.
Sure.
In case.
I'm happy if people want to ask, I'm happy to answer. If people want to talk about cancer, if they want to talk about BP, if they want to talk about You know, these are common things which are happening now. And it's so sad. I have people coming to us saying, you know, who are healers, saying every other day I see the age coming down from 35 to 30 to 29 of cancers. And it is so sad because we don't know better. So if anyone wants me to talk about any of these, I'll be happy to, or if there are questions on those or anything else. Please.
Yeah, one more question. I mean, sorry.
Okay, Chandrasekhar, can I just take Hemanti, is it? Hemanti's
Yes.
question, I'll come back to you because you already asked. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to know what would be the cause for blood pressure and probably weight related issues.
Okay. Again, weight is very simple. Input is more than the output. You know, the burn rate is far less than the input. So we need to figure that out. That is one. That could be one of the reasons. It could be thyroid. It could be, you know, there could be multiple issues. But let me address BP, for example, because that's something very specific that you asked.
Yes.
So let us understand, why does blood pressure happen in the first place?
Yeah, high and low both.
Yeah. So let's just understand that. So, I mean, we may have only time for high, and then I'll probably go back to somebody else. So, because this is a little easier to understand. So you have a pipe, with which I'm watering plants. The pipe doesn't go beyond this point. What do you do for the water to reach far away? You press the pipe, right?
Yeah.
Simple physics. You reduce the diameter, pressure increases. Simple principle of physics. What is happening inside us? Plaque formation is happening regularly in the arteries. As the plaque formation is happening, the arteries are growing smaller and smaller. The pressure is going increasing. Now, let me ask you a little question. Why do you take blood pressure medication?
So that it feels good. I mean, you know, the headache and all of that is not there.
Principally, I would think so that you don't get coronary heart disease.
Okay.
You don't get a brain stroke. Principally, these two reasons. There are plenty others. What you also said is right. But major, at the extreme end of the spectrum, is brain stroke, coronary heart disease.
Okay.
Now, the medication that you're taking, is it taking the plaque out?
I don't think so. It's actually my brother who's been taking for several years now.
It's just a blood thinner. Let me tell you, it's probably just a blood thinner.
Right.
And the blood thinner, if it is not addressing the cause, is it mitigating risk?
No, it is not.
The risk is still there of brain stroke or this. But what is happening is, as you are going on taking this medication, it is creating chaos within your body, between the kidneys, the liver, the lungs, the heart. We don't realize it. We are not able to connect the dots when something else happens later.
Right.
But we have people who have come to us whose arteries are blocked 30 to 95%.
Okay.
In 4 months, the blockages have gone down to 20 or 30%.
Oh, okay.
And all without medication. Is it taking care of blood pressure? Of course it is. Is it taking care of diabetes? Of course it is. Is it taking care of, blockages? Of course it is. If you go to the hospital, all they will do is put in a stent.
Right.
And this is living life to the fullest. So I hope that answers your question. I'd love to go back to Chandrasekhar. He had a question.
Thanks. I'll connect with you separately.
Sure. Sorry.
Sorry, very generic. I mean, we talk about allopathic being very symptomatic in terms of treatment. You talked about Panchadosha. We are doing it a lot, many things like naturopathy talks about. Ayurveda talks about Tridoshas in terms of the way they treat. I mean, how much of these you actually integrate, the Tridoshas and the naturopathy into the way you treat? I mean, Tridoshas, you cannot, I don't know whether we need to find fault with the way Ayurvedists think in terms of, Vata, Pitta, Kapha and things like that.
No. We don't find fault, Chandrasekhar, with any system, because every system is good in its way. Even allopathy is good. Allopathy is required. Someone has a brain stroke. You can't do anything else. You have to go for a surgery. So allopathy also is required. Is Ayurveda good? Of course it's good. Everything is good and has its own merits. For us, the philosophy is slightly simple and different. No medicines at all. Eat aloo gobi. That's all. depending on who needs what. That's all. Enjoy life as it is. And that's all. So ours is a very simple form. Like I said, you go to a nutritionist. The nutritionist for weight loss will tell you 20 grams of this, 50 grams of that, 40 grams of this, 30 grams of this. How long can you follow it? You can't. For us, it's about simplicity. It's about logic and sustainability. That's all. So everything is good. Has its own merit. We don't say bad for anything. We just say it's good, but we have our own system. That's all.
So does your system require us to stop the other medicines in case we were taking them?
It depends again case to case, because let me take an example of a BP patient or a diabetic. Someone is taking insulin because we have n number of cases, people taking insulin 100 units. We know in the next 1, 2 or 3 days, the levels are going to fall drastically. So we need to monitor them very closely. If they continue to take 100 units, they will turn hypoglycemic and they will die. They will go comatose and they will die. So we do not say, stop your medication. We may say that sometimes depending on case to case, but largely in your own survival or self-interest, you will willy-nilly need to stop it. Otherwise, you will get into trouble. You have high BP. You're taking medication. Your BP is normalizing without that medication. If you take it, you'll go into low BP. You'll get into trouble.
No, especially I'm talking about Ayurveda. Suppose we are on an Ayurvedic medication. We are not taking allopathy at all. Would your treatment require us to stop the Ayurvedic medicines also?
See, what one needs to understand, Ravi, is what is your goal? To get healthy. What is my goal? To get healthy. If both our goals are aligned, that we both want to get healthy, does it matter, do I need to take Ayurveda, homeopathic, myself or himself? No. If your life is getting led or moving without taking any medication and living life the way you need to, why do you need to take anything? That is my question. If our goals are aligned, which is to get healthy and live without any medication, any herbs. Very simple.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Great. So
any other question?
Sorry? Yeah.
Any other questions? Anybody else has a question?
I think it seems no.
Yeah, rest in person.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been wonderful. I love interactive sessions where people ask questions and we could answer, and hopefully give clarity to some extent to whatever our limited knowledge extends. And I hope it has been of use to at least some of you all. Thank you so much.
Satish, you want to summarize the whole thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Satish wants to say a couple of things.
Yeah. So Harish, I don't know whether I can call you Dr. Harish.
Engineer Harish should be closer to the truth. I don't want to be put in behind for fraudulent impersonation.
So, but a fantastic, you engineered the conversation so well, and I can't think of any engineer who's talking so much about medicine, the terminologies, etc. Your example of the person from Dubai getting cured, the lady who was a dancer coming back and going back to her dancing, the gentleman who came and spoke about getting out of COVID in 3 years. These are examples which I'm sure that if anybody reaches out to you, you will definitely be able to give them a lot of curing methods. Today, of course, is Independence Day, so the last key wishes everyone, each one of you and your families, a wonderful Independence Day. Of course, half of the day or most part of the day is over. So just before we just end, if Harish, you have 5 minutes and all the participants have 5 minutes, I'll just quickly say a couple of thoughts which came to my mind. And one which is also called the line of fire, which will be a little patriotic, keeping in time with the time of the day. So some children were asked about the 7 wonders of the world, and the kids kept talking about the Great Pyramids, the Taj Mahal, the Grand Canyon, Panama Canal, and Empire State Building. there was one girl who was kind of hesitating, and she said,
Satish, you need to take your mic close.
"Oh, is it? Yeah, is it better? Is
Yeah.
it better?" Yeah. So he said, so there was this girl. Should I start from the beginning or not required? I think so. I'll quickly summarize. There was a this is the seven wonders of the world, because as Harsh was talking about it, I quickly recollected the story. So the set of children were asked to talk about the seven wonders of the world. So they kept talking about, the kids kept talking about the Great Pyramids, the Taj Mahal, the Grand Canyon, the Panama Canal, etc. And one of the girls was a little hesitant, and she was just thinking about what to say. And then she said, the seven wonders of the world are to touch, to taste, to see, to hear, to feel, to laugh, and to love. I think you brought this aspect out so well today, Harish. I mean, in the way in which you were speaking about it. And so I think that was magical. There was one more small story. It will take about 2 minutes for me to talk about, but since it's Independence Day, this really came up to my mind. And as Chandrasekhar was giving an example about, how the modern kids work 16, 18 hours a day. So this was a conversation between a passenger and a software engineer in a train. So the software engineer was just, saying that even though we travel in the train, I'm a project manager, and I have to do so much of work. And we brought the advancement in the country. The railway passenger reservation system is all because of software. And so the other person says that you people always amaze me. You sit in an office and write something on a computer, and it does so many big things outside. And this guy kept on talking about how great he is. And then after some time he just said that what is it that you do? So he says that I'm just a person who's in the line of fire. And he says he talks about his own experience. He says there were 30 of us when we were ordered to capture point 4875 in the cover of the night. The enemy was firing from the top. There was no knowing when the next bullet was going to come from and from where. In the morning, we were finally hoisted the tricolor at the top with only 4 of us alive. And he says, you are who? He says, I'm Subhadar Sushant from the 13 J&K Rifles on duty at peak 4875. Then he talks about a colleague who was killed as he shielded and brought that injured shoulder into the bunker. He says, I know what it is to be in the line of fire. So I think these are the people who, really have done so much for the country. Harish, one more thing, just to conclude, it's not another session that we are starting from me, but just to conclude, I just thought a set of 3 magical words which came to my mind as you kept talking about how you went about, how you go about your job. So there are 4 or 5 sets of 3-letter words which truly depict how I saw and what your session meant to me, at least. One set of words is I'll be there. So you are like the guy who's always saying I'll be there, whether you have cancer, heart, and all the ailments that you say. Somehow I get confused with all these medical terms, but you're the guy like who says I'll be there. You are the other person whom people can say, count on me, count on me. And whenever people are in trouble, we can count on you. You're also the type of a person who says, let me help, let me help. So if the medicines don't work, then something else will. Which is leading me to say that I respect you, because the way you've gone about your phenomenon of moving from an engineer to a doctor simply amazes me. Maybe you're right. That's the other thought that comes, because not taking medicines, and medicines is not the only way to get cured. So maybe you're right. There's a little sense of doubt, I'm sure you have. But undoubtedly, I would say, I thank you. That's the last set of words. Instead of I will replace it as we. So we thank you, Harish, for the excellent session. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Satish. Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful. I've loved every moment of it. And just hope, because we love to spread this message, as far and wide as it goes, about living life without medicines. That's all. And on a journey. That's all. It's about transformation. It's about inner dependence. That's all.
All right,
Thank you
Harish.
so
Take
much.
care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Harish.
Bye.
Thank you.
Today, Jagdish didn't join, I think. No?